So we come to it at last, the illustrious and somewhat anticlimactic end of my Pokémon fanfiction writing career. Before I get too into it, I should say that before I pulled this file up on my laptop just a couple days ago to see if it still kind of opened and worked, according to the little last opened little tab under the Finder, the last time I had opened this file, it said June 9th, 2000. Yep, the year 2000 was the last time I even opened this file. So when I open it up now, about 22 years and change later, I was a little bit shocked to find how little I'd actually written of this fanfic. In my sort of memory, in my mind's eye, I had written more than I actually ever did. I thought surely I had written 10,000 words. No, actually, what I have here is about 2,500 words, or kind of the paperback book equivalent of about 8 pages is all I got through. Before I get too into it, I should mention, so this fanfiction was inspired probably largely by my kind of fanfiction obsession at the time, which was Ace Sanchez's Pokémon Master, which took place in the apocalyptic future of the Pokémon world, inspired kind of by Ninja Scroll and other dark action animes, showing the dark Pokémon Wars, where all the children characters we knew from the anime were all, old grizzled veterans killing each other in massive apocalyptic genocidal wars of magic powers and dark Pokémon. And it was a very influential fanfic at the time. I remember lots of people being very into it. And for what it's worth, give credit to the author, he did finish it. It's a whole novel length, probably like the paperback page equivalent of like 700, 800 page novel. And the author, Ace Sanchez, did in fact fully finish it. I did not finish this. No, I only just got started, but I did have kind of a loose outline for what would happen over what was going to be hilariously a trilogy. I did not get even probably a tiny percent of the way through the first book of the trilogy, so to speak. But what was going to happen was that it was going to, my twist I came up with, my kind of idea was that it was going to start as a conventional going on a Pokemon journey narrative. There was going to be catching Pokemon, a group of friends, probably even some gym battles. Then slowly it was going to get kind of turned into more kind of a battle against kind of a vast, all-powerful criminal element, which would eventually culminate in more of an apocalyptic kind of second half of Final Fantasy VI type scenario. But I'll get a little more into that later. I'll not add any commentary as I'm going through this. I'll just read straight through, skimming over grammatical errors and spelling errors. I'll just roll right past them. And then when I get to the end, I'll discuss a little bit about the backstory and future story and lore as it existed in my mind, and what might have happened had I actually written out the hundreds of pages to get through more of this, which I did not at the time. But let's get right into it. Pokemon Gang, Part 1, Rise to Power, by Blue Moon 007. Shivering uncontrollably as the storm continued to brew overhead, Sandslash's hard, glaring expression reflected its trainers as it stared forward, saddened yet furious. Half the wetness spilling down Blue's face was rain, part sweat. Tears, too, perhaps. Lauren clenched her fists, her 9 tails in front of her glowing, repelling the rainwater as lightning flew on either side of the precarious wall they stood on. Neo and 9 tails each waited for each other to make the first move. A duel of reaction spirit. Blue opened his mouth to say something, but he lost his voice in remorse, and he hesitated. "We don't have to do this, Lauren." He got out, his voice finding a spot between the thunderclaps, brushing a wet lock of brown hair out of his eye. "Don't give me that shit, Blue. You understand why this has to happen perfectly well. If only you could contain yourself a little more, maybe the gang wouldn't be completely gone. You and Lode destroyed the world," she shouted, tears flinging. Her long blonde hair was damp, falling back against her red combat gi. "Slash," Neo moaned sadly, looking back at its trainer. Blue shut his eyes, then opened them. I didn't understand what I was doing," he said, voice trembling. "You fucking didn't. 9 tails, fire blast." Hold on, I'm getting way ahead of myself. Let's go back to the beginning. Chapter 1, A Quest Begins. A powerful clap of thunder sounded, forcing its noise even over the torrents of rain that hailed the land mercilessly below. Hundreds of feet in the black, stormy sky, safe behind the thick windows of his huge, armored, metallic airship, a dark figure watched the relentless storm unleash itself across the countryside. "The wrath of Zapdos," he whispered, one side of his lip twitching upward. He enjoyed seeing power. Sir," his lackey with red, spiky hair and a rugged yet unserious face topping his lean, muscular form said. The tall, dark figure, dressed in a black uniform, turned away from the large window now flecked with the rain, obscuring the majestic view somewhat, that looped around the dark, metallic area, showing off the forest dark from the night hundreds of feet below. This view gave him a thrilling, godlike feel. A flash of lightning turned the room bright for a second, as the uniformed figure approached the computer screen, covering the top of what looked like a round table. His man stood by in postural steps. "What is it, Random?" Random pointed at the green graph that covered the table, mapping out cities and towns for hundreds of miles. He pointed on one, and quickly an image sailing over the town appeared, as people and Pokémon walked calmly along a wooded city, minding their own business. The image was recorded earlier that day by their camera, Firo, who often helped them as a spy. "Tripod City," stated Random, the shadowy room echoing his nasal, unserious voice around. "Soon to be our base of operations," the shadowy, tall figure said in his deep, quiet, yet chilling voice, the glowing screen of the table illuminating his hard face, a scar running along one side. "The time to strike is soon." Thunder roared and shook their ship, somehow emphasizing his words. "I wish it wouldn't do that," the tall young man with his longish brown hair that hung over his hazel eyes and an unmuscled build said, sighing. His friend, more muscled, with pale skin and long, light blonde hair, snickered and grinned. "Psyche is used to people liking him. You're the only shithead I've ever known who doesn't like Pokémon, Blue," Chris said, an annoying grin stretched on his face. Blue, walking along the wooded path of Tripod City, with a small, tan Abra tightly clinging to his arm, sighed with a disgusted look on his face. "Yeah, maybe so, but I think they're wrong. Sick. Now, Psyche, if you wouldn't mind getting the hell off," he shouted, the feel of the flesh of the Abra through his shirt starting to creep him out. Psyche the Abra grinned a mischievous grin, looking up at him with the slitted eyes that haunted Blue's dreams. "Abra," he smirked, and vanished in a flash of white flare, to reappear on Chris's head. Chris laughed. "That's it, kill him, Psyche." He laughed along with the Pokémon, as the dirt and dry leaves crunched underneath the boys' feet as they trudged along the path on the side of the city, walking home from high school. Blue sighed. "Man, get a Pokéball for the thing." Chris laughed and punched Blue in the shoulder. "Hell no, that's for training. Psyche's just a homie," he told Blue, putting gangsta emphasis on the last word. Blue raised his eyebrows, deciding to ask a question he had been wondering but avoiding for some time. "Why exactly was it you're not a trainer anyway?" Chris shrugged as Psyche snickered. "Too much work." "Oh yeah, and school's a lot better. I mean, I hear the trainers get some fine ladies." "Surprised you're not in then," Chris cracked. "You can't just resort to masturbation your whole life," he busted, and him and Abra exploded in annoying laughter. Blue raised an eyebrow. "If I were to become a Pokemon trainer to get the hot girls, I think I'll be better off with my hand." "Must be hard to hate Pokemon in a world filled by them," Chris grinned. "You have no idea," Blue said briskly. "Huh?" said a comical voice, clearly not belonging to Blue, Chris, or Psyche the Abra. "What the hell?" Blue asked nonchalantly, as he, Chris, and the Pokémon looked down to the dirt path and leaves below their feet. "Oh, hell nah," Blue moaned, rubbing the base of his nose as he closed his eyes. "Hey, kick ass," Chris said as he kneeled over to pat the small green worm Pokémon who had curiously spoken to them. Psyche leaped agilely from Chris, landing on Blue's head. Blue turned his eyes up, grimacing in disgust, then looked forward into round black eyes as Chris held the Pokémon in front of him. Blue jumped back, startled. "What's that, huh? What's that?" Chris said, cracking up. said the worm. Blue breathed in, then sighed as he exhaled. "A frickin' Caterpie," he told Chris. "Abra." "Damn cute, too," Chris told the Caterpie, putting it on the dirt ground again. "Yeah, cute like your Abra is," Blue said flatly. Abra leaned over flexibly, looking Blue in the eyes. It slapped him with its large, bulky hand, then teleported over to Chris, cracking up completely with its owner. Blue started to say something, then looked down, dismayed, as the Caterpie crawled up his leg. "No, that's all," he cried as he kicked forward, causing the green worm to fly off. "Wow!" Caterpie cried as it flung through the air, landing on a patch of leaves. "Ah!" it said, looking discouraged. You don't have to be an ass, Blue, Chris told him, smirking. Blue sighed. Look, Caterpie, I don't like Pokemon. That means, you. So, shoo. Caterpie shook its head. Wowie! It cried. Abra, Abra said sleepily, translating to Chris. I think Abra says Caterpie says that it likes you, Chris told Blue. Blue groaned. Oh, come on, that's sick. It's so damn cute, how could you not like it? Chris laughed. Blue looked at Caterpie, who smiled up at him in its Caterpie way, black eyes gleaming. Isn't it weird how life can change so fast? In 1 minute, the Pokemon hater has his own pet Pokemon, Chris said, laughing with Abra. Blue didn't laugh. This isn't funny, Caterpie, he told the bug. A Fearow cawed in the sky. Amusing, those unsuspecting bugs, waiting to be crushed, scurrying about short, meaningless lives, while we, meanwhile, do something of use. The dark, uniformed being said, smirking as he watched the citizens a tripod on his computer display. We move in soon, sir, said Random, checking off things on a list as he leaned back in a padded chair, his feet propped up lazily on the computer table. Forces almost organized. Random's leader, Scar shining in the green glow of the display, looked up. Good. I've waited for this moment for years, he rasped, clenching a fist. Now finally mankind shall discover what Torchco has to offer this pathetic world. Assisted by Selfco, Random reminded him, a smirk. Those weak-minded fools shall be destroyed as well. They've served their short purpose. He looked down at the display of Tripod. Tripod City, however, is yet to serve its. The storm moved on. Blue approached the front door of his house. Look, Caterpie, you're not coming in the house, period. Stay out here. Got it? Blue semi-shouted at his unwanted buddy, who squirmed behind him all the way home. Caterpie gave him a sad face. Blue raised his eyebrows. While you're at it, go find another owner, Blue said without showing mercy, as he opened the door, stepped in, and shut it. Blue's mom, shorter than him just a little, with short black hair, looked up from reading something. Who are you talking to? A Pokemon decided it liked me on the way home. It won't stop following me. I told it to keep out, Blue explained. Blue's mother smirked and laughed, knowing very well her son's views on Pokemon. What kind of Pokemon? She requested. Caterpie. Oh, I'd like to meet it, said Blue's mom casually, walking towards the door. Blue made a quick escape. That night, lying in bed, Blue listened. A powerful sounding storm was overhead, rain providing a constant static overhead, and lightning filling the room with the shine of day, followed by booming claps. Blue hoped for a second that his mom had brought his small, green fan into the house, but then shrugged that off, or tried to at least. Damn, am I becoming a pussy? He asked himself. Hell no, he reassured himself, trying to go to sleep. When he got up the following Friday morning for school, the first thing he saw when he opened the door to his room was a Caterpie sleeping there. Oh Lord, he groaned. Random gritted his teeth, sweat beading as he arm wrestled a Machop. Curses found their way into his heavy breathing as he strained, muscles bulging against the power of Pokemon itself. He felt himself slowly gaining. Suddenly the airship lurched, causing the Machop's small body to jolt slightly. Random used this as an opening and took the win. Hell yeah, he shouted as he stood up, raising an arm. Chop, Machop said angrily. Yeah, a cheap victory, but so what? Flukes can happen on the field. Need to be ready to take advantage of any kind of lead that can be gained. If you were in a duel and your opponent's gun malfunctioned, could you wait for them to fix it? They were moving towards Tripod City. Blue's eyebrows were curiously tilted in as he walked towards Chris, who, with Psyche on his shoulder, was walking away, looking over a small card he held with a booklet while he ignored the Caterpie crawling behind him. Yo, Chris! Chris looked up along with Abra. Sup, my G? He said, more of a hello than a question. Why were you in school today, man? Shut up, Caterpie. Chris chuckled. I thought about what he said yesterday, he began as they continued to walk along the path, going nowhere in particular. About not being a Pokemon trainer, and how it's better than school, and, he continued. Then he stopped his sentence and held out his card to Blue, who took it and looked at it. Blue blinked, and his eyes widened. Official Pokemon trainer's license? Chris smiled. I thought, what the hell, and I already have my starting Pokemon. Abra, the yellow Psy Pokemon said, standing on Chris's shoulder. Blue blinked and bit his lower lip. Man, I didn't think we'd have to split up till college. When are you leaving? Tomorrow. Blue thought this over for a second. He then looked down at Caterpie, up at Psyche, then at the license. Handing the license back to Chris, he ordered, wait there, and ran back the other direction. What the hell was that? Chris said out loud. Abra, asked Caterpie, looking where Blue ran to. Hey, Catter, Chris said, and Caterpie looked up at him. Want to come along with me and Psyche? He asked the greenworm. Ah, said Caterpie, looking disheartened. Blue and me'll keep in touch. You can talk to him then. Caterpie shrugged, not sure what to do, and crawled towards Blue's home. Chris, having said his goodbyes to everyone, with backpack over his shoulder, 2 Pokeballs at his waist, one of which was designated to but not containing his Abra, who was on his head, walked out towards the outer rims of Tripod City, heading towards the next town where he heard there was a Pokemon gym. Suddenly, "Hey Chris, dude, wait up," a voice shouted, coming nearer to Chris's location. Blue approached. Chris smiled half a smile. "Yeah man, see you and stuff. I'll call you and say how it's going." "No you won't," Blue told him. "Abra!" Blue sighed, his brown locks of hair hanging out over the front of his face, reached into his pocket and fingered out something, a card. He showed it to Chris. Chris tried not to laugh, failing dismally. "Official Pokemon trainer? You? Who the hell would have thought?" "Ha ha ha ha!" he roared, leaning over. Blue grimaced, remembering the reaction of all his other friends and his mother when he told them his new path in life. Quite similar. Chris looked up. "So, are you ever actually going to let Caterpie out of its Pokeball?" He grinned. "Huh?" said a small voice behind Blue. I couldn't afford a Pokeball," Blue said. "Didn't you get any money from your mom? Mine gave me $1,000. Blue sighed. "Yeah, I got some. I don't care about training. Just because I'm a trainer now doesn't mean I don't hate Pokemon still. You can keep Caterpie," he said, scooting the worm forward towards Chris with his foot, not wanting to touch it. Chris picked up Caterpie and put it on his shoulder. "Welcome to the gang," he told it. "Arr!" it squealed. "Abra!" Sight greeted it. "Let's get the hell out of here then." "Pokemon trainer," Chris grinned at him. "Oh my god," Blue said, rubbing his temples, his backpack hanging behind him, as he and the Pokemon-covered Chris walked into the greenery, out of the town they'd spent their lives in. A computer table was observed. Random laughed as he pointed towards 2 figures, small from the distant sky view, leaving the city grounds. "Hey boss, check this out. Looks like a couple kids decided this was a good time to get the hell out of Dodge." The tall being looked over at the display. Fortunate for them. Chapter 2, Sand and Grime. And yep, that is it. That is the end of Pokemon Gang as I wrote it. The prologue and Chapter 1, A Quest Begins. That's all she wrote, as it were. So I guess I'll fill you in on a few things that are going on. So obviously Blue was going to have a character arc where he learned to love Pokemon and became a great Pokemon trainer. I had a big plan. I had kind of a team planned out of what he would catch and what Chris would catch and their other friend Lauren, who they would meet along the way. And I had probably at least a dozen other characters planned out. So Blue's team, I don't know. I can't remember it all now. I don't have any of these written down. I don't have any documents on this. This is all just in my memory, casting my memory back close to a quarter century. The 3 kind of starring players of Blue's team that were actually going to have kind of characters and a kind of a character arcs of their own. We're going to be this Caterpie we know, who he will eventually call Load. You might remember in the first scene here, Lauren told him, "You and Load destroyed the world." Load, that was what was going to be soon. I would bring it to Metapod pretty soon, then Butterfree pretty soon after that. And that was going to be kind of the main Pokemon of his, Load the Butterfree, and that was going to be an important character. The other one, as you can see, Chapter 2 was called Sand and Grime. That was going to have Blue catching a sand shrew, I believe it's the first one, sand shrew, and Chris catching a Grimer, which would eventually become a Muck and a Sand Slash. The Sand Slash will be named Neo, who we saw in the first scene fighting with at Blue's side with Lauren. The third kind of starring Pokemon of Blue's team was going to be Eevee. It was going to become a Vaporeon. So Butterfree, Sandslash, and Vaporeon are going to be kind of the big 3, although there'd be other ones and stuff. So for a while we were going to follow along the gyms and whatnot, getting a few badges. But then, of course, Random and the Dark Figure, whose name I do not remember. Yeah, but they were going to, so this was a double-layered kind of red herring villain. They were going to destroy Tripod City, Torchco was, and either kill or kidnap Blue's mom, I can't remember which, and that was going to eventually turn them back away from their Pokemon journey to become more kind of fighters and sort of a war. They were going to be sort of there would be like the official military of the country this took place in, but Blue and Chris and Lauren together were gonna kind of found and be the head of what was called the Pokemon Gang, which was sort of a guerrilla strike force unit. that would do attacks and battles against these various bad guys as they tried to take back the countryside as Torchco's influence spread outward. That was going to be kind of what the first book focused on. But, okay, so I'll explain first. I think Random, as far as I remember, inspired by the relationship of Emperor Gestalt and Kefka in the video game Final Fantasy VI, where Kefka takes Gestalt's place as the main villain. I do believe that Random, who we saw as the henchman of the Dark Figure, was actually going to be the main villain of at least this book, supplanting the Dark Figure as sort of the main bad guy. And I think he was going to have that Machop turned Machoke turned Machamp as kind of his featured Pokemon. I can't even remember what the Dark Figure's featured Pokemon was anymore. Yeah, I just have no clue. Maybe a Rhydon or something, but I don't know. But that was all just leading up into the future books where somehow, as this war engulfed the country, Blue was going to somehow make a deal with either a demon from hell or literally Satan, like the actual literal like devil, as I This is all from the imagination of a 13-year-old, so, keep that in context. But, yeah, and somehow that was going to result in an apocalyptic event that destroyed the world, kind of Final Fantasy VI, second half of Final Fantasy VI style, countries quaking, earthquakes and apocalypse and fire, and as Lauren said in the first scene, you and Lode destroyed the world. That was kind of going to be sort of what happened. And Satan... he might have been a demon, but I'm just going to call him Satan because that might have been how I planned it, was going to have a Pokemon team that he was going to battle the heroes with. But he was going to have demonic versions of Pokemon, right? This was kind of... Digimon was also going on at this time where they would add... titles to each Digimon's name to make it the stronger form. So, for example, Greymon would become War Greymon. So, piggybacking off that, Satan was going to have demonic versions. Like, he would have a Venomoth called, like, Hades Venomoth or something like that. It was going to be more like, Mothra-sized with, like, a flaming eyes and breathing fire. And I think I had a whole Satan Pokemon team planned out. There might have been a Golem in there also. Yeah, just various demonic... giant kaiju versions of the known Pokemon, and this would happen throughout kind of the second and third books. And I remember the big tragic scene I had planned out was the death of Blue's Vaporeon. That would happen probably at the end of the second book. So book one would be this fight against the Dark Figure and Random and Torchco and the establishment of the Pokemon gang. Book two would be sort of this deal with the devil, literally ending in the death of Blue's Vaporeon, and probably Lauren, one of her Pokemon, was going to die as well. Obviously, her featured one would be a Vulpix at first, turned into a Ninetales. Then book three kind of would be about the rising up against the demons and taking back the shattered world from evil. And yeah, eventually, of course, Blue and Lauren, as we saw them fighting in the first scene, would come back together to fight Satan. But yeah, that was as you can see, I only got through probably a fraction of 1% of the outline I had at the time, but I'd say it was a learning experience, but it wasn't really. It was just kind of cringe.